welcome to the Bhandwagon Podcast, and today is a jump-off edition. So this is where basically I'm able to look at some of the topical issues or just rant generally, and actually live what I'm saying in terms of jumping on bandwagons and coming off and just opinions on it as well. So I'm really glad to actually be doing this episode. I've tried to record over the last couple of weeks a few bits, and I've had real major technology issues. So so let's hopefully get through this episode in itself. So before we start, a big shout out to Brown Boy Culture, who have been it basically got me some merchandise through this hoodie, and this ain't like a normal kind of printed hoodie. This has got like emblems or just kind of ridges which make it look a lot better, and the quality is brilliant. And I've got a one-off piece which he's finalizing and sorting out, and when that comes out I will definitely give it kind of a dedicated post. But besides from that, some of the biggest news of this week was a big thank you to everyone, and we won a British Sikh Communities Award, which was quite surprising, to be fair, as you know, people actually nominated and voted and actually said some nice things as well. And you know, the journey of the podcast has been where I was recovering from surgery, and then just went on, just guessed and fluked my way to do this podcast, and 130,000 views roughly later, over 25,000 downloads on sort of listening streams. It's been a crazy journey, and a real big thank you to everyone who nominated, who shared posts and liked or anything that I've put out. All the guests who've been on and shared their stories have been really appreciated, and people coming up and having discussions with me randomly. Just a big thank you, and that award is for you guys. And I think now, you know, how I've joked over the podcast, how I've kind of been chilling on these. I think I might have to take it a little bit more serious now and try and get some guests and get bigger and bigger and bigger. We've got the road to Diljit. Hopefully he'll like at least one of the posts, and then we know we've definitely made it then. And I could retire probably. No, not really. So in order to do that, I'm gonna be probably in the next few weeks go out to do some sponsorship stuff. So like I got with the clothing, like we got with anything else, if anybody's interested, then please get in contact. And I'm looking for kind of set designers and all this business as well. So it's already, things are moving on, and I've got a really big project which is quite personal, coming out towards the end of summer, and it involves you guys if you want to be involved, and just an opportunity to get some stories down. So be well aware of that as well. Okay, so just a couple of things in terms of where I just wanted to get off my chest. So I've had a bit of a delay in terms of releasing stuff, just because I wanted to take a little bit of a break, spend time with the family, and got with friends and in that social network. I think it's really important, especially for me. I know how I best operate and how I kind of listen and observe to stories. And you know, I have mentioned it very briefly. I did put a post out on the Bandwagon Instagram around one of my mates who sadly passed away, and he was one of the guys who got me into playing the dhol and kind of started this journey for me in one way. And it really, you know, it just made me reflect quite seriously how you get into age now, even at my kind of youngish age, where things start to get a bit serious, and looking at people's mental health, people looking at you know, like wedding season, for example. It can be a quite anxious time for families and individuals, especially if you're going to weddings, and you've got all these, I don't know how to say it, like temptations, for example. If you already might have a stress of a wedding where family politics kicking in, or there's money issues on getting the perfect wedding done, and then you've got somebody who might have alcohol problems or drug addictions, and they're going into an environment where it's freely available. For a lot of people, it's brilliant. You got notched up, you could do all your dancing and celebrating all you like. But for other people, it's stressful because they're thinking, what is my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my son, my daughter going to do, my cousin, to how they're going to, embarrass themselves, embarrass us, and all these things. And it brings a lot of stress. So it's not all hunky-dory. And I think it's important that people actually have those conversations and not re-emphasizing some of the stigma out there, because I think as a community, if we're able to kind of address these things, it's the only way we're going to progress forward in dealing with these taboo subjects. And that really hit home, and it took some time for me to kind of process a lot of issues, even at the awards where you see all these fantastic individuals, organizations doing all these massive work, and a lot of it goes under the radar. A lot of podcasters, a lot of communities, a lot of individuals I personally know, things like what Amar from the Source podcast, the work that he's doing around the Sikh history is amazing. Harvey from newpodcast.com, what he does, all these people who've done kind of massive work, and sometimes it can be a little bit. I feel a little bit embarrassed sometimes if I got like an award like this and knowing that other people's are, but I just see it as a frame in time, and like I respect that what people have done, and I've done this bit now, and it's got some recognition, which is mainly down to you guys, and it's your thing, not necessarily mine. But it also kind of brought up I'm adamant where I'll try and help other people and support their podcasts and all this, support their movement, what they do. And you do see other people having little sly digs in terms of like indirects or what they're doing. And there's it's good to be paranoid now and again, but there's timing. But what I would say is that if you're that kind of person where you're having indirects or you're slagging somebody off, one day people are going to watch it back, or your kids or whoever are going to look at your material that you've done, and they're actually going to conclude that you're a fucking twat. So be very careful in some of the content that people put out, and it's just a lesson for the future, just to be very careful. I think also as well, when I was in this time of reflection, was we just had the anniversary of Sidhu Musiala's untimely death, and I think it was one of those situations where you kind of go back where you were a year ago, and the impact in terms of how people are still processing his death, and the reverberations around the community and around the world. To be honest, as you can see, he transcended different mainstream kind of genres, and what he's done is amazing. But you also very poignant in terms of like his dad is everywhere, his mom as well, and you could just see broken parents at the same time, and how people are still swarming around him, and it just makes you think: have they had true time to kind of have their grieving process been put in? And I think it's just how, as a parent, when you see how do they actually cope, it's unbelievable that they still got the strength in order to do that. And this is being repeated across the world in many tragedies where you see war on the TV. When you put, I think the other day there was like a massive flood, a train crash. It's mad. We got first world problems where we're thinking, Apple have just released this new Vision sort of AR model, and kids are saying, I want this, and it's about $3,000. And then you've got other side of the spectrum where people are losing their lives over it, we're getting starving to death in today's world. It's mad. It's crazy. And also around June, you always get the time that reflection on 1984, and never forgetting 84 in terms of like, forget where put the politics to one side, look at it from a human rights, the atrocities that have happened, and it's important that those stories still continue to get heard, because there's still justice that parents and families and the Qawm still need. To be honest, I haven't got that much more to say on this episode. I want to keep it kind of brief, really. I just wanted to check in because I haven't been as regular as I have been, but coming up I will be. But I did go to a podcasting conference, and at the podcast conference, it was in London, and it was really interesting to see how you see some of the mainstream episodes and presenters, and they've got 20-30 people strong, making sure that the product that they put out is top notch, and it's not always the case. And I think what it helped me kind of conclude was, when you see artists or music people or people releasing books, I've had many people on the podcast over the from the start who from different backgrounds and what they're promoting, the amount of effort that they put into, not always you get the same amount of return of investment. And that creativity costs something. It costs time with their family, financial, whatever it may be. There's always a cost. And the way how we live in this disposable culture of just seeing something and throwing it away, I think that's a bit. It's made me think and appreciate people's art, because you may not like it, you may disagree with it, but at the same time, you have to appreciate it. But that doesn't mean that you put out, you still have a standard at the end of the day, a bit of ethics and a bit of moral. And it's not about sensationalism, clickbait stuff. There's a market for that. And if you're going to do that, great. But some people don't operate in that way as well. And that really came across in the professionalism, that if we're going to get programs, radio, podcasting up to a level of the mainstream and break through that, then we've got to come with our own class as well at the same time. So that's it. Big thank you to everyone. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.